In this video, we're going to take a look at the web challenges from a CIT CTF that happened over the weekend. The first challenge was called break-in authentication, and the description said, say my username, and we've got this login box with a username and a password. Maybe we just try and put in some quotes first to see if we get any errors, which we don't. However, if we put 2 quotes in for the password, you'll see we do get an error this time, and it mentions an SQL exception, which is a hint that there's some SQL injection here. And let me just go back to the main page. Let's try and do admin or 1 equals 1, and we'll put that in the password as well, log in, and that's it. We get through to the admin panel. However, there's nothing here apart from some CSS, which also contains nothing. So considering we've identified a SQL injection, we can use that to try and enumerate the database. And actually, let me just take a copy of the request. Let's see what it was. Okay, so it was a post request. It was to the index page, and it took a username, a password, and login equals login. So let's go over to SQL map and put in the URL, which I didn't copy again. And we will want to say that it's a post request, so we're passing in some data, and there was a username. I'll put in here cat, and a password. Let's put in meow. And then login was equal to login. I'm also going to put batch here just so it automatically says yes or no to any of the questions that it's going to ask. So after some short time, it comes back and shows us that it found error-based and Boolean-based and time-based SQL injection. So we can repeat this again. It should run a lot quicker for us this time, and we can just list the databases that are on the server. You can see we've got app, we've got MySQL, quite a few others. Let's have a look at the app one. So I'm going to do -d app, and then we'll list the tables that are in it. And you can see we've got secrets and we've got users. So let's change the table. In fact, let's just dump the whole thing. We could set the table and dump them one by one, but we'll do the whole thing at once. First thing is the secrets table, which you can see has a flag in it. And then we're left with the passwords and the usernames as well. So that's it. We've dumped all of the users. We've got our flag for this challenge. Let's move on to the next one. The next challenge is called Commit and Order Version Control Unit. And the description says, in software development, the repository is represented by 2 separate yet equally important branches. So a bit of a hint at a repository there. I tried some usual stuff anyway, the quotes in here and just default credentials, things like that. Had a look at the source code, and there's nothing in there. But since it's hinting at a Git repo, let's just try and access .git. And you'll see that we don't have permission to access this resource, but that doesn't mean we don't have permission to access the folders and the files within this directory. And there is a tool that we can use for that called git-dumper, which I already have installed. No, I don't. Okay, so let's do pip install git-dumper. And I'm going to reset this VM right after the video. So I'm just going to break my system packages. Let's check it again, see what options we've got. And there we go. All right, so it's actually asking us some stuff now. So I am going to say that I want to, let's actually make a directory so don't get too messy. I'm going to say that I want to dump everything from that Git repo into the current directory. You see it's fetching a lot of stuff. And now we have the PHP files, and we also have a Git directory. And at this point, we can start using Git commands like git log, and you'll see that there were various commits in here. There was one that mentioned putting ChatGPT to work, which is a bit of a hint at some vibe coding. So I thought, all right, let's check out that commit compared to the current one. So we'll do git, let me get out of this. Git diff, we put in the commit ID and scroll down to see what's changed, and somewhere in here, oh, maybe it wasn't this one. Oh, here it is. Okay, so yeah, there was this value, which was later removed, so I'm going to take a copy of that. I'll do echo. It looks like base64, right? Okay, not in that format though. Yeah, we'll echo that to base64-d, decode it, and we've got our next flag. The next challenge is called How I Parsed Your JSON, and the description says, this is the story of how I defined your schema, and it tells us the flag is in secrets.txt. Whenever it tells you that the location of a flag is a file like that, you can pretty much guess that you're either going to need to get a file read vulnerability, or some kind of remote code execution so that you can just do anything on the system, including read the files. Anyway, there's some information here. It says that it will load things like employees.json, but the file extensions will be removed. This is worth bearing in mind because it means they've got some kind of filtering in place to remove the extension from the file. It also tells us to get started, we can create directory containers, do not include the file extension, and add your data in a JSON format. Okay, so I'll just put in here a star and say we want to query everything from the employees table. We can do that from each one of these as well. What I was thinking here is, can we try to access some other random file in the system? So we'll do etc password, and yeah, we can get straight through to it. The problem is, if we want to do secrets.txt, then it's not going to work because it's going to strip out the .txt, and you can even see here it's actually stripped that out. So maybe we try some encoding on this, or try some basic tricks. Another thing we could do is just try and actually read the code of the application. So I think what I actually tried to do here, let me go back, let's do /app/app.py. This is a pretty standard directory, but if you just ask ChatGPT, like, I've got an application here, it mentions Flask, right? So we're just going to ask, like, what are the common directories for Flask? What are the common files? You'll find this pretty quickly. But if we do that, we'll see that, yeah, it's stripping out the extension. So my first thought is, well, let's just put 2 extensions. And there we go. It's only stripping the last extension from the query. So it gives us a code. We can see it's doing some things like it's replacing .. as well. So if I was to do here .. then you can see that it strips that out. But quite often, and we saw from the code there, what it's actually doing, it's removing the .. but it's not doing it recursively. So if I do .. it will essentially remove the .. in the middle and then leave us with a .. in its place, which you can also see works here. But we don't need to do that anyway. I'm not too sure why that was actually in here, to be honest. And we can also see it's not a very nice format. If you change the format of this, you'll be able to see that it's also taking out the extension. This part here, it's splitting it, and then it's replacing the .. So let's just try it with the secrets.txt. I'll do secrets.txt.txt, and it says invalid query. I'm trying to remember now what I changed. Oh, yeah, okay, it's in the same directory. So this actually confused me a little bit. If we go back to app directory and do secrets.txt.txt, it will give us the flag as well as some credentials as well. And you could also have done this by like URL encoding this and probably some other tricks with the extension to bypass that basic filter. But that's it. We've now recovered the flag for this challenge. Let's move on to the next one. The next challenge is called Mr. Chatbot, and the description said, what's your prompt? Which made me think it was going to be like an LLM prompt injection sort of thing, but let's just put in a username and join the chatbot, and we can put in some messages here. Hello. Oh, you can't hit enter, which annoys me. But yeah, if we view the source here and actually have a look at the code, actually, I guess it would be nicer to do it with the developer tools, since we'll be able to get some code highlighting. And yeah, we can have a look through this. It was potentially a sign that there was going to be some SSTI here, and also if we're going to have a look at the request, we will see that it's a Python web server. And we were also told that the flag was in secrets.txt again, which, like I said in the last challenge, is an indication we either need to get file read or RCE. However, looking through the code, there isn't really much we can do here. It just gives us some generic responses, and if we ask how it's doing, it'll say thanks username. It also says that whenever we join as well. So maybe we go back and we try some different, in fact, let me just check here. We've got a cookie somewhere I need to delete. We've got the session cookie. Maybe we just refresh the page and try this again. But this time we put in something which might trigger a different response. So like 7 times 7. We want to see, does it return 7 times 7 as it has here, or does it return 49, so 7 times 7? And yeah, just return 7 times 7. It looks like it's stripping out our values. So the next thing here is to have a look at that cookie. Let's go to our storage. Let's download the cookie. It looks like a JWT. So I tried initially the JWT tool, and yeah, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, we get this message saying it's not a valid JSON format. In fact, if we do try to make a few different tokens, some of them will decode here. I guess we can go to jwt.io as well and see if that has any more luck with it. Oh, I'm not used to seeing this. Maybe I have a dark mode extension on. But yeah, here we go. We can see it's got admin is 0, and then it has the name that we put in without the curly braces. They were removed from it. But it doesn't actually have a header or anything like that. And the reason being, it took me a while to work this out. It was pretty stupid. But if we have a look at the cookie, let's go back. Yeah, let's have a look at our request, and we'll see that it is actually a session ID. So it's a Flask session, not a JWT. which means we can use flask-unsign to have a look at this instead. And I did try some other things first whenever I thought it was a JWT, but I'll not waste time. You can have a look at the full write-up if you want to see all the stupid things that I tried that didn't work. Oh, maybe I don't have this installed either. Let's do pip install flask-unsign. And again, we're happy to break our system packages. Okay, and now let's take the cookie again, and I will do flask-unsign, and then try to decode it, and then give the cookie, and then we just paste that in. And it'll come back and give us the decoded cookie. We can also try to brute force that, so you can do, instead of decode, we could change this to unsign, and then you'll see it wants a word list, so we do -w, and you can provide it a word list, like I just give it the RockU word list. It comes back with some error. Oh yeah, if we do that, we also need to, I think because the admin value is a number, we also need to do no literal eval, and then it'll go through those. But I went through the word list, it didn't actually come back and identify any key or anything. So the next thing was, in fact, I didn't actually solve this during the challenge. It's annoying because this is one of the things that I tried. Let me go back to, let me take our request where we did a post request. I'll send it to the repeater, and yeah, one thing that I was trying here was to do like admin equals 1, assuming that would be injected in. Whenever I was trying it was when I thought it was a JWT, and I did notice this long value instead, but I wasn't decoding it properly, so I didn't get the right result. So let's try and decode this longer session cookie and see what's in there. And it has admin 1, so it did inject that. It has the same name, but it has this new UID, which is like a long value, and if we try to base64 decode it, let's do echo to base64-d, we'll see that it comes back with 49 at the beginning. Remember I said we were looking out for 49 because we have the 7 times 7? Well, our username is basically reflected at the start of the UID, and it appears to be executing the line that we put in there. So it didn't return the string, it returned the output of that string. So I went to payloads, all the things, and started trying some different payloads. Some of them weren't working for me. Let me just try and find one that did work. I think it was, config.items. So I'll send this here. I think I had to URL encode it. Let me try send. Oh no, it's okay. So yeah, we get an even longer one this time, and we can just basically do the same thing and say we want to decode. We paste this in. We now get an even longer value here. I don't want to miss that equals. So we can again do echo, we paste that in, and then we send it to base64-d. And this is returning the config, which one thing you'll see here is the secret key. So we can actually use this key now to tamper with or to generate our own tokens that have anything in them, and they'll be signed and they'll be valid. But we don't actually need to do that. We can just go ahead with another command, which will actually get RCE on it. So let me take a copy of this one, and we'll do the same thing again. Where's my burp gone? We'll do the same thing here. We'll just paste this in, and we want to see if we get file read. It's going to try and do open the process ID, and then it's going to read the response. We send it, we do get the response, which is nice. And again, we'll just try the same thing. Let me try and find one that's quite short. Oh, I meant to decode, not unsign. Let me do that now. All right, decode, we paste in that cookie, and we have another base64 value to decode. I guess it'd be nice to make a script for this rather than like repeating this every time, but oh well. Base64-d, and yeah, it comes back with the output of the ID command. So as you can imagine, we've now got RCE. What do we want to do? We want to read that file. So it's just a case of changing this and saying cat secret. Oh, I'm going to need to URL encode that space. Secrets.txt. We send it. We get hopefully a final copy of this. And let me find a relatively short cookie. I don't know whether it's quicker just to type out that command again or delete all of the cookie, but oh well, it's done again. And our final base64 encoded string is this one. We'll echo it and we'll base64 decode it. And there we go. We've printed out the secrets.txt using the SSTI vulnerability. Let's take a look at the final challenge. So again, we've got a login box. I think every challenge has pretty much started off with this. And it actually mentions something about, well, the challenge is called Keeping Up with the Credentials, and it says something about strong passwords, if you're not using one, you're playing yourself. So we could have a look at some of the credentials we retrieved from the SQL injection challenge, and they also actually showed up in the other challenges as well. So there's an admin, and then there's a password, which I have saved now. I'm just going to paste in. We get through and it says it's under construction. We don't have any new interesting cookies. We have a look at the source code. Again, there's nothing interesting. And I tried a few things here. Let me go over to burp and send the request to the repeater. We're on the debug page now. So I thought maybe we could try some different parameters here. Like if we do debug equals true, do we get any different output? Like maybe that parameter is not recognized. Then we could fuzz different parameters or an issue with a value or something. But no, nothing changes. And the next thing was to change the request method to post. Again, nothing changes with the output. I tried changing the content type and things like that, but wasn't getting anywhere. It turns out that I was on the right tracks doing the post request. The only thing is we need to do it on the initial login. So if we go back to the login where it has the username and the password and send that to the repeater, it was actually a GET request with those credentials. So it took us through to debug.php. But if we now change this request method to post and click on send, instead of taking us to debug.php, it takes us to admin.php. And I just clicked the wrong thing. Follow redirection. And yeah, we get through to a debug panel, but this one contains the final flag. Anyway, that is how we solved the 5 web challenges from the CIT CTF. And I've left the full write-ups here on my Gitbook, which is book.cryptocat.me. You can also find like my website and Discord from here if you want to join my Discord server. And it's mostly just what I went through, maybe a little bit longer because I go through some of the mistakes that I made or some of the rabbit holes that I went into and things like that. But hope you check it out anyway. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks.